Welcome to Hats, Chats and Giggles podcast. Join us to listen to the stories, voices and secrets that make our community so special. Together we will dive into the stories of the people who call Hattersley their home. From the wisdom of our older generation to the young voices of our future, we will cover a variety of topics, giving everyone the chance to voice their opinions on the things that matter most to them. So if it's dog dirt in the back alley, dodgy Christmas trees, or even inappropriate graffiti, we want to hear it, warts and all. So whether you're a lifelong Hattersley resident or new to the area, we invite you to join us on this journey through the heart of our beloved community. We'll explore the vibrant tapestry of Mottram, Longdale and Hattersley, from its history to its ever-changing present and the bright future that lies ahead. But hey, if you're not from Hattersley, that's okay too. We'll hope you'll find inspiration in our stories and maybe discover a sense of community that extends beyond our own town's borders. And maybe, who knows, you might even move around here as well. Follow us on our socials to stay up to date with the latest episodes and behind the scenes content. So if you have a story to tell, if you've got views on any of our content or even a joke you want to share, then drop us a voice note on 07365 223 720. That's 07365 223 720. Turn on, tune in, and rip the knob off to Hats, Chats and Giggles podcast. Welcome back, listener. Welcome to this week's episode of Hats, Chats and Giggles podcast. Today we're going to be discussing something that impacts virtually every aspect of our lives. Yep, you got it, it's technology. More specifically, we're exploring the growing importance of digital technology and literacy in a world that has gone truly digital. To help us understand these issues and its implications, I'm pleased to welcome this week's guests, Sam Hardy and Alyssa Bryant from PC Refurb, a non-profit organisation working to provide technology, access and digital skills training to our community. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for letting us in.
Thanks.
Let's start by having you explain what exactly PC Refurb does and how does your organisation help improve digital access and skills?
Yeah, we first started doing up computers that businesses didn't want anymore and refurbishing them and passing them out to people who needed them. On the back of that then, we noticed a lot of people didn't know how to use tech. So we get out and about. My projects are all around Tameside, so Hattersley and all sorts of other areas. We take people, they can be at almost no level at all, and show them how to do the sort of things you need to do to live nowadays. Get digital banking, talking to people, emailing, all sorts of stuff.
Right, well that sounds like tremendously impactful work. And can you share kind of some examples of the people and groups you serve and how computer and internet access coupled with the trainees has helped improve their lives?
Yeah, no, that's great. So your first thought, usually when you think about tech, is you think it's older folks who don't know this stuff. And there are lots of older folks who've never learnt it, but it's like people of all ages. So I meet quite a few people who say have always worked on building sites, and up till COVID, they sort of just turned up at building site and the foreman said, shift that muck, yeah, you're a hard worker, right, you're in. And now they turn up at the gate and they say, well, all the jobs are online, and people's faces just fall because they've never used it. Or even younger people, if they've been to school and ended up, say, not finishing their school at the end or whatever, they might be able to go on their phone and do a TikTok video, but they haven't a clue how to fill in universal credit form or apply for a bank or anything like that you kind of need in life. So I've come across quite a few people. One guy I had recently, he'd been in prison for the last 10, 15 years, and so he'd never really used computers in prison, and he'd come out and the world's changed, hasn't it? And he did my training, and he said, I've changed his life. He said he said I've got a digital bank account. He said I did a money transfer to my daughter last night. I'm now emailing people. He said it's brilliant, and it doesn't take long to get there and to make a difference.
No, and what I've found is, especially, there's like a fear of technology in there, and people don't realise how simple interfaces are to use now, and how things have been set up for the user. But that sounds like really rewarding work to me. So, on that, what interested you both personally in this kind of work? Why is it digital inclusion important to use?
Well, I've recently just joined the charity, and I'm a digital skills tutor, and I literally cannot go anywhere without my phone, and I do everything on it. I have a laptop as well, and my background is being social media marketing. So all I see is everything about being online. And it really interested me that people nowadays, a lot of them still don't actually know some of the really basics of how to use a device and what's online. And I found that really sad. And not in like, oh, it's sad, but it's not fair that literally you cannot go about life now without being online. And I think everyone should have the opportunity to learn and to be involved with what's happening online and using all these devices. So that really struck with me on a personal level. And I really wanted to help people because it seems so scary. I mean, I try and learn new skills and technology and things, and it's rapidly changing. And it is hard to keep up with. So I can't imagine what it's like for someone starting right from the start when everyone else seems so far ahead, and how daunting that might be. So that's why I was really interested in becoming a digital skills tutor.
Brilliant. Well, as you know, folks, we are live, and I'm just going to go up to the window because I think we've got some builders outside the window. I'm just going to clear them off. So if you want to listen in for the giggles. Can you hear them?
I couldn't hear them.
Oh, no, I can't hear them.
Hello? Can you go around there somewhere? We're just doing a recording. Yeah, the listeners are listening in. They can hear everything you're talking about. I don't know how appropriate it is. Anti-vaping, where I go for it as they're having a cigarette.
Anti-vaping, but they have cigarettes.
Sorry about that, listener. So yeah, I agree with you. If we're getting back to that, I always think of the older generation struggling with technology. I think there should be more. I think the tech companies should be doing more personally. I don't want to get political and have a go.
It is political.
I don't want to be having a go at capitalism, but I do kind of think that there is a responsibility of big tech taking on board some of this work, or even funding initiatives like yourselves, because there's a massive need, particularly when everyone's talking about what's happened to the postmasters, and how Fujitsu, how these big companies don't seem to be taking much responsibility for.
It's government, isn't it? Government can force companies to make a difference. And when you're reliant on like charity funding, everything's projects, isn't it? So you might come into somewhere like Hattersley, but you're only funded for 12 months. Where, if tech companies could put money into stuff like this, then you're not disappearing, are you? Because it's annoying for places where these people come and a project comes and goes. And I'm sure you feel like that with your project, Mark, that you're always chasing the next bit of money, and it's very frustrating when the work is out there and you can make a difference to people's lives, and it takes a while for people to trust you and want to come and use the project you've got together. So by the time you've built up that trust and you've got some clients, you're almost at the end of it, and it's a very irritating cycle, the way this funding works. And it would be brilliant if Vodafone or Microsoft or whatever sort of coughed up some of their profits rather than taking it to other countries.
You know, if we have I don't know if any of you could give us a bigger picture of how technology has transformed society and like, we just have to look at film streaming. I mean, video shops. I remember when you used to go and get a VHS video shot from a video shop, and now it's all streaming, and the way young people listen to music and the way we are listening to music now is through a streaming service. It's transformed our lives so much. So I agree with you.
My nephew was listening to the Beatles on Spotify the other week, and it really struck my mum, because she said when she was growing up in the 60s, she said no one would have been listening to music from 60 years before. They wouldn't have been listening to some obscure jazz band, because you just listened to whatever was current. But it has, so you know, so far we've been kind of talking about the negatives of the technology, but there is so much opportunity for people. Like if they didn't get on at school, once they're online, there's loads of free courses. You can go Open University, and there's loads of free stuff out there if you know where to look. People are scared of getting scammed and ripped off, but the chance of doing things and changing things, and changing your own life and getting out of where you grew up. Where you grew up didn't give you much opportunities, getting online gives you the world, and you can find people like you. So, you know, if you're interested in some obscure bit of music, there'll be thousands of people you can connect with out there. So it broadens people's horizons enormously.
Yeah, and I agree with you. More on the positive side of the work that you're doing and how liberating it is. I kind of see it as to give an example is when when I first passed my driving test and I got my first car, how liberating.
Oh my God, so freeing.
How liberating is that? And I liken it to that.
Yeah.
Is when you do open these doors to technology to people, it does give them access to lots and lots of things. I mean, you can go to university and pay a lot of money to go to university, but you can quite easily learn all that at home in your own.
Yeah.
And you can learn. I learned on the weekend how to change a bulb on a Peugeot 207. Yeah. Not only that, I also learned where to find the fuse for my electric windows on a Volkswagen Golf, because it was there.
Crazy.
Someone had put this video up, and it's showing you where the fuse box, even how to get into the fuse box. All them things I would have had to pay for a mechanic to do. So you're right. There's loads of benefits from getting up to speed.
And it's like the banks used to be local, but they've all shut their branches, haven't they? So if you want to do banking or anything like that, if you're not online, it's massively inconvenient.
It was crazy the other day. I got a check through the post from a refund from DVLA, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with a check. Like, it's not something I'm used to. But now you can take a picture of it on your online banking app, and it just automatically does it. I was like, oh my gosh, this was great. So I don't even have to go anywhere. Yeah, so easy.
That happened to me. My son showed me that I didn't even know my phone app. Because I was going into Ashton to a bank to go and put this check in, and he was like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because that's what you've got to do. This is what you have to do with checks. No, what you can do, Dad, is you can just take a picture and put it in on your... I'm like, what?
I know, it's just like amazing.
and I think that's the thing, is that all of us who use technology, there was a point where we got our first smartphone, we got our first whatever, and it was often some, our son or, a nephew who knew what they were doing or whatever, who sort of showed all of us the first time. And we can all remember what it felt like when we were sort of a bit confused by it and not quite getting it. And it's not like if someone's out there and they haven't got these skills, there's something wrong with them. We've all been there on that. And it doesn't actually take that much to get the basics. But also, it's still the case for all of us, even those who use it every day, that we do get frustrated by it. It keeps changing, and we have to kind of keep on top of it. So, um, yeah, I think a lot of people feel a kind of shame that they haven't got this skill, but there's really no need for that because um, they're just in the same boat as all of us. All of us were just not very long ago, and anyone can pick it up. I often compare it to not being able to read, because if you can't read, you really struggle in society. But learning to read is really hard. It takes years. It's like learning a musical instrument. Practice, practice, practice. Digital skills has as much impact as not being able to read, but when you've got it, you're really good, and it doesn't take that much to get there. So it's that's what's very satisfying about the job is you can see the changes in people's lives over a few weeks that they can do something they never thought they'd be able to do.
We'll be right back after this short break. Beryl, get the kettle on.
I've always lived in Hyde, but recently, in the last 6 years, I came to live in Hattersley. People said to me, "Oh, it's got a bit of a reputation, that place." I said, "No, it's not that bad." However, I was cycling down the road the other day, put my arm out to turn left, and somebody nicked my watch. However, Hattersley's not all that bad. I mean, take me, for instance. I'm a good-hearted person. I was at the ATM the other day, and this old lady in front of me asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over.
So tell us, Sam, after you finished at the food bank, what else are you doing? What other things?
So we've been running a group for quite a while now at Hattersley Hub in the computer suite. PC Refurb put that computer suite in the first place, and Alyssa is taking over being the tutor in that group. And although it was for over 50s, there is some space in there for other people to come along who get referred in and can come to that. And then also at Pop Hyde, so the cafe on the market, I'm running another group again on a Wednesday afternoon that people will be able to come to, and that will just be in the cafe there, and people can come and learn. There's various others around Tameside, and by the time this podcast goes out, by going on the PC Refurb website, you'll be able to find out the other groups that we have around and about Tameside. So if you know someone who lives in another bit of Tameside, there's bound to be something, because I'm setting them up all over.
Okay then, so shifting the focus onto solutions then. How do you think we can build digital skills capacity in communities at risk of digital exclusion? Like, I know the work that you're doing is doing that. I mean, what kind of training... What does training look like at the various ages and stages?
I'm quite interested on Hattersley because we got these two different models going here. So PC Refurb tends to run groups that people can come to, and we put them on a basic website called Learn My Way, and it sort of teaches all about basics, and people work through that, and then we help them with whatever they're struggling with. But Sam Powers from Onward Homes, she's doing another thing where she's training up digital champions to go into groups that already happen on Hattersley and take equipment to them and show them in places where they are. And I think those two models are quite good, like a place someone can come to where they're surrounded by other people who are learning. That suits some people. And then people who can go out to where people already are and help them. That helps other people, and people who would perhaps feel a bit nervous about going into a group. Well,
I think that sounds like a really good idea, because the people who are most likely not to have digital skills are people who are maybe not so confident about turning up and getting some training. I mean, you get some people who happily go on every course and learn everything, don't you? And then you've got other people at the other end is that they're not sociably comfortable with mixing.
Yeah, they're a bit more isolated maybe.
I think as well, people imagine a group's going to feel like school, and they didn't like school often. So I often find that when people have met me or met Alyssa, they think, oh, they're all right. They're not, they're not a monster. Maybe I could go along. But when they're just sort of imagining going to this group, they think, oh, I'm going to look like an idiot. I don't fancy it. But it's never
it's a class.
It's never like that, and that's an important thing that we try to get over. That it's safe for people. You know, people can come, they can make mistakes, and it's no one's going to be putting them in the naughty corner with a dunces hat on.
No. Oh, it sounds great. It sounds great, your project, and I hope more and more people will get involved. And I also think these things take time, working in communities, and if you don't get it right, sometimes you feel like you're not getting it right. But these things take time, don't they, to grow and evolve, and they're quite organic, you know, like spreading word getting about and stuff. So,
yeah. So one thing we've been doing here, and we haven't managed to get very many people coming along, but we've been working with the food bank out of Hattersley, because obviously people who are using the food bank often struggle with other things in life. And I've been training up some people from the food bank to be able to work with anyone who needs digital skills. So my team kind of don't need to be there because the people from the food bank can do it. So so that's another aspect. Is like I was saying, you know, getting people to work with groups where they are. But it's sometimes it feels frustrating because you have a good idea and you know people need the help, and then it's finding the people, and that's partly why we're at this podcast, because you know, it's as many ways that people can find out about something.
It's about like community capacity building, really, I suppose, because if there's people there at the food bank now, it's kind of a bit of your legacy really has been left there, that they can train someone up.
Yeah.
They might have no one week, and then all of a sudden they might have a few people, because people speak to each other, don't they, and say, oh, well, I learned that. Yeah. You know, I've been down there, they're good.
And even if the weeks I've been coming, I haven't found anyone that needs the help, those staff members have been trained up, and if, like you say, suddenly someone came along, even if I've stopped working with the food bank, they could get back in touch with me and go, help, we've got these people now, come back and help us. And so it's building capacity all around a community so that there's lots of people who can help people and, you know who to talk to.
Right, well, I think it's a fantastic project, and I mean, you've helped us. You've donated some iPads that we're gonna use with young people. You might not
that's brilliant.
Have iPads at home. For those who are listening, might want to get involved. They might want to donate a computer or something like that. What are some of the ways they can support your organisation?
Yeah, we tend to find that people's old computers are often that bit too old by the time, you know, individuals are finished with them. Most of the computers and stuff we get are from organisations. So if people work in a company that's getting rid of 20 old laptops, because companies tend to only keep them for 3 or 4 years and then get new ones. When we get a chunk of stuff like that, that's really useful to us, because then what we do is we strip them back to nothing, put new Windows on it, and then we pass it out to charities, to individuals who, you know, are trying to turn their lives around, and it can make a big difference. Someone's trying to apply for a job, they don't have a laptop, we can provide them with a laptop, and they can you know, sort it out. And like you say with your project, you know, we can provide iPads and iMacs and stuff that companies have got rid of, and they're useless otherwise. You know, the iPads we're giving you are very old, but because you could take them out and about and record sound and record video and then use that in the music situation, you can actually make good use of something that otherwise would just go to the tip, and that's fantastic. I think the other thing is, you know, if people want to be digital champions, if they want to help train other people, and you don't have to you know, be a computer whiz, you just have to be a kind person, you know, then they can get in touch with me at PC Refurb, and I can, you know, take them along to a group and help them, and it's very rewarding, like we've said already in this podcast. So, you know, people can be a digital champion and help other people bridge the digital divide, as we say.
Oh, brilliant. Have you got any links? Have you got any emails? Are there any numbers you want to give out? I'll put them all in the podcast description for anyone who wants to.
Yeah, the charity is pcrefurb.org.uk. So by going on there, people could see what we're about. And I'm sam.hardy@pcrefurb.org.uk if someone wants to email me.
Okay, we'll leave them in the podcast description. And so if maybe you're a company, maybe you're a business with a load of computers sat there not doing out, or maybe someone who wants to give it back to the community and become one of these digital inclusion champions, get in touch with Sam, and they're doing great work. So as we wrap up, have you any final thoughts on this issue as it relates to the community in particular, and anything about digital literacy?
I think if you are listening to this and you haven't got these skills, or you know someone in your family who hasn't got these skills and you can see it affecting them, then just be either kind to yourself or kind to them and get in touch. Come along to something. It's quite easy, and you'll be amazed at how much you can learn and how quickly you can do it.
Great. Well, let's put our hands together for Alyssa and Sam for coming into the show, folks.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Hats, Chats and Giggles podcast. Turn on, tune in, and rip the knob off. Thank you for listening to Hats, Chats and Giggles podcast. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates. Just type in Hats, Chats and Giggles and you should be able to find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube. Please follow, comment, subscribe to all our media channels. Do it now, else we're going to rush your doors and we're going to tickle you to death. And don't forget, if you're the local community group or business and like to come on the show and tell us what you've been up to, don't hesitate to get in touch. Or maybe you're a local resident with a story to share, a bee in your bonnet, or beef to get off your chest. Drop us a voice note on 07365 223 720. That's 07365 223 720. Until next time, folks, hate less, love more, make peace, not war, and tell your grandma thanks for the rabbits. Turn on, tune in, and rip the knob off to Hats, Chats and Giggles podcast. Peace.